Crowds are gathering in London ahead of the Trooping the Colour parade. The traditional event kicks off the 4-day long weekend, celebrating 70 years since the coronation of Queen Elizabeth. But the royal family dramas are again threatening to overshadow things. Let's cross live to London, where we find our colleague Annalise Nielsen. Annalise, talk us through what the atmosphere is like right now.
Well, it's drastically improved with the weather. It's been inclement all week, and so this was a big moment to see whether crowds would gather. We know the British are pretty hardy in the rain, but this is a beautiful weather, and as you can see, the crowds here are very excited. From around the world too, we've got flags from all over the place, and many of these have been camping out overnight to get the best spot to see the Queen come out on the balcony for the first of what's going to be a packed weekend of royal events. So people are going to come down the mall here. This is where the Trooping of the Colour is going to happen. And this is where we see the best indicator of the popularity of the royal family. We know that they're a PR machine, that they do thousands of events each year, but the best measure of their success is the crowds they can drag out for events like this and the excitement that they can bring. So we're seeing a very enthusiastic crowd indeed. Let's ask these ladies, what are you looking forward to today?
Fantastic.
Sorry? What are you looking forward to most today?
To see all the royal family.
And how far have you come from?
Calgary, Canada.
All the way from Canada. I've seen so many Canadians at this trip.
Oh, have you? Yeah, slept out all night.
Yes, thank you. Look, Kieran, this is going to be a huge weekend. As you mentioned, the royal family does have its dramas. This is also the first event we're expected to see Harry and Meghan. Now, we hear a lot of gossip around the couple, but we do know that they have this lawsuit against the Home Office around their security. They've been concerned that they wouldn't have adequate security, and there seems to have been a lot of gestures to try and make them feel safe for this trip. They're not going to be on the major balcony with the royal family. That's for working royals. The reporting is now that they'll be on a smaller, separate balcony to the side. They're also going to be at the Thanksgiving service, and that's going to be the first time we see Prince Andrew, who's been another headache for the royal family after his disastrous year. He's had to step back from being His Royal Highness in disgrace. And so plenty to watch today. Fly over 1,400 servicemen and women coming down the mall, and as you can see, the crowd's just getting bigger and bigger.
Yeah, it looks like a beautiful day there too, Annalise. And in terms of who shows up on the balcony with the Queen, you touched on a little of that there, but who do we expect to be alongside Her Majesty?
Well, what we're really seeing from the royal family is them pushing this streamlined royal family. Charles has been behind that. He doesn't want the royal family to look like they're taking taxpayer money for granted. So this is going to be the major appearance where it's working royals. That's a tidy excuse for them too, to exclude Harry and Meghan. There's been concerns that they're going to bring their Netflix crew and use that as an opportunity for their own PR. It seems like that's not happening either. And then, of course, Prince Andrew, after his major settlements against one of the victims of Jeffrey Epstein, he's been a huge issue for the royal family in managing that. But that's going to be bookended by a second balcony appearance to end the weekend. That's reportedly going to be the Queen and her 3 heirs, Charles, William and George, all standing together. The most distinctive statement she can say about this is what the future of the royal family is. This is my legacy.
And finally, Annalise, how much has this dominated the coverage and the media in the United Kingdom and in London, where you've been the last few days?
Well, see, this is the really interesting thing. American coverage is obsessed with Harry and Meghan. We see it constantly. You should see the broadcast setups for the US networks here. They're extraordinary, and it's enlivened an interest in the royal family that probably didn't exist before that. But the UK coverage has mainly focused on the Queen. They're very respectful of the Queen and her service, and there's been a lot of people here saying just so happy to celebrate 70 years, but they don't feel like she's put a foot wrong, even though we know she's faced some controversial times in her reign. She's plodded on, and that's a very British sentiment. What we have seen is discussion more around Prince Andrew and how that's going to be handled. There is frustration around that from the general public in Britain, but this is a moment of celebration. The pandemic's been really tough in the United Kingdom, and so many of the events about bringing people together. It's ending with these group lunches, and for so many people, this is the first time that they've really felt like they're moving on from 2 years of really tough lockdowns.
Annalise Nielsen live from London. Appreciate that. Enjoy the next few days. Thanks for the update.